What is good, guys? How are we doing? It is Hack back with another trade recap. It is March 18th, Wednesday, and we absolutely cooked today. I mean, we played our bias perfectly to a T. We were patient. We were disciplined. This is what we work for. This is the back testing, all those hours, all the trades, all the journaling. This is what we do it for, to have days like this and really just cash in when we see our A+ setup. And that's really what it comes down to. So let's talk about the bias for the day. Let's go to about 8:30. Basically, just kind of look at the chart, right, guys? So you'll see around 8:30, right? This is kind of what the chart's looking like. We get some really good structure at the top. Gets pretty ugly. Leaves some good structure, right? Nice slide to start the morning. Again, the last 2 days, keep in mind, the last 2 days the market has went up about 3% this week. We have all these draws on liquidity to the downside. Yes, it might be somewhat of a high resistance run. We got some 30-minute gaps, 15-minute gaps to trade into in this 880, 820 area. Let the morning progress a little, right? And this is where things really heat up. So into 9:15, you guys can see we left behind a fat, and I mean fat, 5-minute or 15-minute gap, excuse me. 100 points, EMA's trailing. We got to this point, 9 a.m. I'm watching the chart. I'm like, all right, kind of gonna wait. We started to find a bottom here. Just saw a basic, nothing crazy, but volume, pre-market buying start to come in, kind of buy up this area. I said, okay, that's fine. My plan for the day, as you guys are going to see, and you guys saw in the Discord, obviously, what my plan was for the day. It was that I wanted to see the markets come up, retrace into this fat area. We had clear draws on liquidity that we already took out, obviously, on this rundown, Asian low. Sometimes when these levels get taken out, I like to use these levels to get revisited. As long as they kind of match up with what we're overall trying to see, you can use those draws on liquidity as liquidity pools, especially if you watch volume, even time and sales on Top Step for my people that use it, like to have it on the side or whatever platform you use. If you're not using like order flow, you can use time and sales and stuff like that. It is very useful. And you can really basically just use those past liquidity pools, even if they were swept minutes before, an hour before, you can use them as key levels. So here, what I really basically wanted to see was us trade back into this 15-minute gap. A pretty good retracement, a lot of buying off the bottom. The 2-minute, 5-minute showed pretty bullish structure in the open. So I was like, all right, let's make this move up. Let's come to about the 0.5, 975, basically to 25,000. This 25-point range here inside of this 15-minute gap. You can see there's two draws on liquidity, as well as the 15-minute EMA 8, which will be pushing down, as well as the 0.5 of this 15-minute gap. This, to me, was like the sell area. If we can get 1-minute, 2-minute structure to sell out of this area, I'd be very happy about it. And then you do see into open, right? We come up, we retest this area. And I'm just showing you guys the 15-minute, 30-minute, kind of like the mid-time frame levels and kind of what we saw that based us and were able to get us to take our model to the downside. So you see we leave behind all these 5-minute gaps. We get some tests throughout the session here, 945, 950, 955, trying to make that move lower, still holding really well. And of course, with the VWAP trailing above, with EMAs pushing down, still this huge liquidity pool that we identified, holding it really well based on the draws on liquidity, volume, EMAs pushing down, 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, basically 5-minute, 15-minute. Just seeing really good reactions. And this is kind of what you're seeing at this point, guys. You're seeing us hold with a lot of strength at this point. Let's slow this replay down a little. And then, look, just keep bouncing. Then finally, we get that nice little dump, and that takes us lower. Now, you guys will see again, replay mode won't really do this justice. I'll show you what played out, and I'll show you how we caught it, right? So a really cool move, 1030, 1040 played out. Took new low a day and started to keep trading lower. Now this is what we did, and this was our main A+ setup of the day. Let's read the confluences on the screen. And we started to take this entry right at about here, right at about 1014. We held this into 1024, 1026, 70 points, 2 RR, full TP. Let's talk about it. 15-minute inverse fair value gap. Guys, when I see this, I get a very good feeling about what I'm looking to do. I think this kind of explains itself right here. 15-minute inverse. You see this 10 o'clock candle closes lower. We pull back right to the EMA 8 and inverse this candle, right? Some people will draw it differently. I like to draw my gaps off of the bodies. Now me, psychologically, I can draw my gaps. I'm going to clear this up just so we can kind of focus on what we're talking about here. I can draw my gaps, inverses, etc. I like drawing them candle to candle, body to body. Of course, when the wicks are present, I can kind of look at the wicks and understand what's going on. If you want to have a small, some people draw their inverses out just wick to wick, so the box is a little smaller and more precise. That's completely fine. I can look at it, draw out the box big, and then I can envision with the wicks. Obviously not really in this scenario, but I can envision with the wicks, where I'm looking for the inverse to play out. But in this, I was completely fine drawing the bodies because, again, with the EMAs, with what I use, when we're looking to catch this continuation lower, we will pull back to that EMA 8. EMA 21 was a little trailing here on the 15-minute. We'll pull back to that EMA 8, and that's going to be our main driver. So already being in a fat 15-minute gap, now we got a 15-minute inverse. Go back to the confluences here. 1 minute gap. I think this will be pretty self-explanatory. That 1 minute gap matches up with the 15-minute inverse like perfectly. Like bread and butter, guys, right here. Just absolutely beautiful. That matches up. We have our EMAs pushing down, 3 confluences. Clear draw liquidity all the way down to the 720s with how volume is moving today. Wasn't really expecting that, but just wanted to see a low. Just wanted to see us take a new low a day and then catch a little volume in that new low a day. And then once I see the volume kind of slow down, just take our money and run. That's exactly what we did. I did size up for my A+ setup, right? So we have the EMAs pushing down. We have internal lows to target. As I'll show you guys on the 2 minute, kind of as we take this entry. Let me give you guys this precise number. Right at about 10:14, we're in at the 897s. Again, very, very happy. Entry could have even been better, honestly. Entry could have even been better. Now, I started that entry at 10:14. I do want to note this, and of course, you guys will see the recording as well. I'm going to post the recording in the Discord, my socials, etc. We actually took the entry, got in on the size we wanted, closer to about 10:20 here after we failed to take the EMAs. So it does look like a low entry, and again, I could have gotten a lot better of an entry, but I did wait for this test up. I did start an entry here, then I added a little more here, then we came back down, then I really added the size I wanted to be on. With options and futures, I did this. So I really did kind of scale into this trade. The entry was meant to be closer to the 915s, 916s because I was on like 3 micros, and then I got our confirmation down here, and I saw all the confluences come together. I did increase that to 8 micros, so it did slide the entry a lot. This was my options entry, like I showed you here. They were both pretty close, 897, 900, basically the same area. And again, the risk wasn't ideal, but 34, 33 points is what it ended up being. I was completely fine with that. And again, if we tested back up here, I didn't want to be a part of this. Now let's mark out our internal lows and kind of show you guys how we went about this trade. Right, so we had a very, very, very minor internal low right here that we did sweep pretty quickly. We have that internal low, we have this internal low, and then we had actual low of day. As you can see, once we took out that first internal low, we continued to close about 10 minutes from here, about 12 to 14 minutes of candles in a row under the 2 minute EMA 8. Our first line of defense didn't even get to that 21. That's when I knew we had a very, very good chance of catching the slide here. Obviously, as well as having the clear draw on liquidity, the higher time frame bias to go lower, the huge 15-minute gap, getting the inverse at the bottom of the 15-minute gap. 2 minute key liquidity pool, 1 minute inverse. I mean, this setup was absolutely beautiful. This is a setup that I've back tested and played plenty of times, breakouts to new high of day or new low of day. In this example, obviously catching that break to new low of day. And it just slid. I mean, I have the recording. It was electric on stream. Price slid. And again, today, especially with volume, the VIX is calming down. It was in the 27s, 28s. Today, it calmed down 22, 23. Of course, it spiked a little when we started the fall. Now that the market went from green to red, of course, the VIX will spike a little. Fear basically is what drives the VIX. Some red, even after a great week. So some panic came into the markets. There's still a lot going on with the war and everything. So the VIX is just naturally high. But yeah, we were able to catch a really, really good move. Candles got very, very tense inside of this inverse. Continued on the 2 minute, 5 minute to close under the EMAs. And we got our move. And we caught a banger, 70 points, about an $800 day on our options accounts. And then caught some really, really good futures gains. It was a beautiful day. I hope this trade makes sense. Using those internal lows as confirmation. Once we took that first internal low with confidence, we saw really, really good volume come in. Took that next low. We went break even here, right at this. Technically, and you see us trying to go for new low day now, all the way about 1 o'clock here. Went break even here, then we just continued to slide, took out new internal low, closed our 2 minute body right on the next internal low, was break even, and then we just slid right to TP. We didn't have to worry about this EMA pullback. We didn't worry about structure reversing. We took profits. My original target, now I will say, and we're targeting that right now, my original target was down to this area, about the 804s. Once I started to see any sort of buying come in, it was up $700 on options, a few grand on futures. There was no reason for me to hold this. I mean, this was 73 points. And again, my draw on liquidity is all the way down, 720, 740s. That could easily happen right now into PM session. But again, we took our piece. And I did that on our first trade of the day as well that I did send to the Discord. It wasn't a crazy trade, but it was basically us coming up here. When we came to this area, we actually top ticked the downside. I want to say it was right off the sweep of this level. We did top tick the downside for about 40 points down. As you can see, as soon as we tapped right into this area, we were still holding this uptrend. Price went right back up. Let me actually show you guys that trade as well. Let me look here. Where was it? It was about the 990s. I want to say we got it. Yeah. So this was the trade. This was that first trade again. This wasn't really an important trade. It was a smaller size trade. It was a cool trade. It was great. Just targeting right into this liquidity pool, basically about 46 points. Once we started to get our move, we approached this area. I literally went like this. Like I moved my stop down so much. It was a low risk trade. That's why I'm not really highlighting it. It was more focused on the A+ setup because this was a low risk, probably about a B+ setup. Using the 0.5 of that 15-minute gap, kind of just letting price push down. Obviously the EMAs, VWAP, etc. EMAs weren't too much of a factor, and it really wasn't a great setup, honestly. Like I took it with good confidence. I was very confident in the moment. It was kind of one of those like setups where just from trader intuition, trading a lot, having years of experience, kind of one of those setups you take and you just get a nice little piece. So I did take it on the options account and a combine. And then yeah, we called the A+. That was the main setup of the day. Absolutely beautiful. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a lot from this trade recap. Continue to watch these. Continue to learn. Come along from the journey. Success is inevitable. Keep eating. God bless you all. Peace.